In Spanning Gateway, I'm Asia, and I'm going to go over the Keybalion. Okay. We're not going to read the whole book, of course. We're just going to go over the 7 principles that are identified in this book. It's not so much about the book, it's about the information that's contained within, and then for us to interpret it for ourselves, use our own intuition and compare it to other sources of truth. Okay, we can always relate it to the star map or even the masculine and feminine principles. These will all help us to identify these things because they are our natural existences. They are bounds. They are a way in which we're able to exist in this universe is through these natural laws. So we're going to go over the 7 principles, which are really important because, hold on, because this is the foundation of life. It's the bounds in which we're able to live and we're able to exist and act upon, right? Because you can't live in the sea, right? Because you have to be able to breathe. So that's a natural law that's in place that we have to abide by if we want to continue on in existence, right? Okay, so that's what these principles are about. They're about foundation. They're foundational information that life is built upon. Okay, also correlates to the number 7, very powerful because there's many rituals and practices in which people use 7 candles or 7 objects, and they're all relating to the 7 energies, the 7 churches, could be the 7 main planets or chakras, just however you want to interpret that information. So let's get into these principles. Okay, so first one is number 1, the beginning, right? Dealing with number 1 and all that energy contains. Okay, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental, the Keybalion. So we're going to read this and then we're going to break it down. The principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite, living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things and the universe as a whole, and it is and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all. So we have to first be able to come to that mental concept or conclusion about that concept that the all is mind, because if the container contains all everything, then that must be apparent that the mind is within the all, right? The mind is an expression of the all. It's just a form of existence because the mind just is the mental realm, the 4th dimension. There's different ways to correlate the mind energy or energies, but that just is whether we're aware of it or not, because it's just existing. So for an example, I am using my mental thought, my mind, while you're also using your mind simultaneously. There's no pause in between. It's just a natural way of existing. We're all using our mind. Everything is mental. This is how we create, right? We create in our minds. We think of something before we actually do it, before our outward expression. So all the information that we're collecting is all dealing with things of the mind, communication, Mercury. Okay, there's different ways to identify these different energies. So let's break it down on the star map because it shows the different dimensions of the mind. Even masculine and feminine. You can break it down to the 2 in correspondence. But we're going to use this because it gives you more dimensions. The 12, with the 12 churches, the 12 houses or temples or whatever you want to call them, rulers. There's different terminology or names for these things. They correlate throughout different systems of education and religion, but you got to be able to find the source, the balance, the truth, or at least be able to point to it. So if the all, this board is representation symbolically of the universe, right? This board, it's in a square shape, but it is not a representation of its actual form, but it represents all the energy contained and in its parts. So through the 12 houses, the 12 dimensions, or it's really 9 dimensions plus the 0. But this represents 12 different, it can represent 12 different dimensions, or a realm of reality, whichever word you choose to use. But it represents the all, the everything, and then representing its parts, its separations. So if we were to look at this star map and turn it into a mental map, we could break down the different separations of the mind, okay? Different separations of the mind based on the houses, because these are the foundations of these thoughts. These are the principles of our thoughts in which we operate in our daily lives, in our cycles, in our life cycle. Okay, because we know that we think. Let me see. Is it backwards here? It's backwards here. But if you're familiar, you know what I'm saying. Feel me? So we think about who we are. We think about what we have. We think about thinking. We're always thinking. It's just a natural state of being. That's why it's related to the third house, communication, social interactions, how we, use our state of being in thought and communication. So then we think about how we feel, right? We think about what we want to do, how we want to be seen, what we want to look at. We think about how we're going to serve. We work. We think about all these areas of life. Like, all you have to do is go into your story, and you can see how all these realms of thought exist in your life, and these will be the basic principles of these. Okay, but this Keybalion that we're reading is based off of the seven planets. Not, how do you say that? Because of course there's more planets, there's more energies or chakras, right? But these are the founding 7, okay, that are used throughout time and in ancient society and as of now. But as we evolve, we start to expand, right? We're evolving as a collective beings, and we're expanding, so we get to identify other energies that are existing throughout time through creation. So the all, this is a way of representing how the all can be, because we know that the universe is possibilities, and if you know that the universe is infinite possibilities, then this shouldn't be hard to believe, right? But it's not about believing, it's about knowing, because you can identify, right, these different subdivisions or divisions in your life, because you're doing these things, you're expressing your will, you're most likely working in some form or doing some type of service, you're balancing things out when things seem to be in disharmony. We all have desires, things that we want to achieve or go get, you know what I'm saying? We all learning, no matter what you're paying attention to. So this is not just astrology, this is foundational knowledge, and how to identify and make these things beneficial for yourself and know how they're being used against you, okay? Because if you're unaware of these things, they're being used against you. So principle 1, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental, right?